It gives me great pleasure in introducing Mr. Saif Ahmed, head of Browns, Ahmed Siddiqui and Son, an aficionado of horology, specialized in luxury brand management, luxury retail management, and exclusive consultation to HNWI. Saif is also interested in the study of digital transformation, and one of his most recent projects was on the same, he tells us, and journey of luxury retail, specifically the future of luxury watches in the era of being digital. It gives me great pleasure in welcoming you to the panel discussion. We have another illustrious colleague, Mr. Juan Perez, CEO of the Luxury Network UAE, described as the next generation of marketing for luxury brands by the British media. The Luxury Network is the world's leading luxury affinity marketing group. The Luxury Network is a private membership club established in luxury capitals or countries around the world, within which premium companies work closely together at senior director level for mutual business and client development. The Luxury Network's objective is simple: to facilitate cooperation and exciting new business development activities between top-end companies under the umbrella of affinity marketing, providing direct access to each other's pre-qualified high-net-worth private clients. Through the Luxury Network, new business partnerships are created via strategic alignment, joint collaborations, product placements, endorsements, media sharing, B2B and B2C networking, sales and luxury showcase events, and numerous other affinity marketing events. Please join me in welcoming the CEO of Luxury Network, Mr. Juan Perez. We are extremely privileged to have our moderator for the event, guest for tonight, Ms. Asil Attar. Yes, CEO and co-founder of Salt Fashion Limited. She has held a number of firsts, placing her as the first female CEO of 3 Middle East leading groups, most recently as the CEO of Damas Jewelry, the first female in 100 years. She's an ambassador for women empowerment. Attar champions women, inspiring women of all ages to reach their potential and achieve their goals. Known as the hybrid, Attar has an innate understanding of the relationship between creative and commercial, gaining her a reputation as a creative strategist for omni-channel marketing, digital transformation, and innovation. For the past decade, Attar has supported and invested in emerging talent in fashion, accessories, and jewelry from the region and internationally. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Asil Attar. We're also joined today by Mr. Bertrand Georges-Mélin, CEO of Malb Asia Limited. Bertrand began his career in Hermes and Audemars Piguet. In 2010, he was responsible for managing Otlens in Asia Pacific. Malb acquired Otlens in 2012. He now is the CEO of Malb Asia and is responsible for H. Moser and Otlens in Asia and De Bethune in China. Our program director for Gemlux program, Dr. Alexandra.
First of all, thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here supporting such an amazing program and very inspiring and speaking to these very esteemed panelists. So let's get right into it. We spoke and you presented a very, very interesting subject about the evolution of luxury over the last 2 decades. Something that I'd like to sort of kickstart with is this whole digital transformation. And I know, of course, Saif, you're very passionate about it, but let's start with Professor Alessandro and talk about what does digital transformation mean? What is that?
Digital transformation, to me, is watching the world with the eyes of my kids. They are almost 5 and almost 3, and it's incredible the real life application of the concept thinking out of the box. And I'm getting old, and I realize every day I'm getting older, my mind is slower and doesn't have the kind of elasticity that a 2 years old had. when my younger Carlo, he was 2, in love with cars, met my sister. My sister say, Carlo, we bought a new car. Wow, what is it? It's Tesla. What is Tesla? Tesla is an electric car. Oh, no steering wheel? So, you see the passage for a 2-year-old kid that doesn't know how a car is working. If you say electric, he thought self-driven. I still have colleagues at the university, professors, you have to tell them, look, self-driven cars are here. They will happen. No, it's impossible. I will never in my own life see a car without a man behind the steering wheel. That reminds me of that top manager, member of the board of one of the top 3 or 4 Italian luxury groups, declaring at a board meeting 15 years back, if we'll ever sell our product online, I will quit my job.
Did he quit his job?
Yeah, change the industry.
That's a good point. Otherwise, we wouldn't be transforming. So very interesting. So seeing it through the eye of the younger generation. But let's talk a little bit about your business, Bertrand. So what does that mean to you? Digital transformation. How are you using that with exercising your values or the heritage of your brand?
For us, it's enormous opportunity today. That's the change that happened within the watch industry that I'm in, or the luxury industry. The last 10 years, it gives opportunity for small creators like us, or small boutique brands like us, to be able to meet and create discussions with potential customers from all around the world. Because at any age now, they are using digital media, they're using social media to discover more and more products. And so it put us in the opportunity that without having an enormous budget of marketing, to be able to create discussions and meet customers that are very happy to send me a message in the middle of the night from India to tell me, oh, I bought one of your watch in India, I'm so happy, I love what you do. And it creates a relation between myself and our customers. And that's something that was not existing 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That now we have this opportunity to really create special relationship with many, many of our collectors. And
which is the positive side, right?
That's
to enable you to have a
for a small
global
company
audience.
like ours, it's amazing.
Right.
We can reach millions of people around the world without, just by trying to be more creative, or by trying to create something different, we can reach millions of people that
so in a
we could not
sphere,
before.
With a tool that enables you, which is a very bespoke niche product, to reach millions of people, like you say, across the world. What is the irony in a bespoke luxury experiential product in the same space reaching millions of people in the world, and then at the same time having to fight with that constant voice of all these competitive brands who also want to share their experience to millions of people, and then you layer onto that all these influencers and marketeers. So how genuine is that experience? Whilst, yes, I totally agree that it's giving you an opportunity to reach so many, but how is it that you manage to really secure your voice and your space amongst all the noise, is my question.
You cannot completely control it, but I think it's the brand work to choose how you direct your message, who you choose to put your message and direct it to their network, etc. We work in a lot of different networks around the world that speak to their own communities. So you need to find the key people in all those communities that people trust, that people understand that they have the knowledge to present a very specific product, a very high-end mechanical product. Not everybody, by taking just a picture and put it on Instagram, not everybody will understand what it is. But if the right people start to speak about it, present it, then it can get the interest of people. And from there are so many other medias that they can go and Google and try to understand this product. So you need to use not only one specific social media. Like we see Instagram is very fashion today for using that. But Instagram, you don't get a lot of details on it. But it brings people to get interested in one of our products that then they can discover in more, where journalists have done a great effort to really explain what our products are about and explain the specificity of our brand and of our product. So we need to try to get them their attention to then redirect them to explain our heritage, to explain our savoir-faire, to explain our craftsmanship, everything that is behind. But you need to first get the attention. In the globalization like today, it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. So Juan, how does that relationship work for you in the luxury network? Because you're coupling two ends of a...
So I believe it's very challenging for luxury brands, but every challenge comes with an opportunity. And those brands that are able to offer exclusive experiences to their clients, then they will take that opportunity further and they will succeed.
So give me a bit more detail, specifically in your field and what you do. You're coupling and pairing, right? Brands together with partners, or profiling individuals. So how do you then manage to convey that within what you do as a business?
Coming into social media that now is on trend, if you are a jet brand, you can have your beautiful jets on your Instagram, for example. But if you have jets in combination with cars or maybe a high-end jewelry, then that picture becomes more interesting for the consumers.
So I'm going to also challenge that, right, and ask you, because I read an amazing article actually in Harper's Bazaar just talking about jets.
Mm-hmm.
And we know today in the world of social media and all the bloggers that we see in these fantastic lives that they lead, which more often than not are fake.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not they are able to rent for $500 a jet, sit, take a selfie in it. They're also able to rent the Ferrari and pose as if it were their own. And especially in London, you have these wonderful manor houses and real estate that you can go and rent for a couple of hundred. So Harper's did a day in the life of a blogger, and I think for $1,250, she really lived the life and looked like the luxury that is aspirational. So how do you, because that's specifically related to you selling that equal product, how does something like that not affect your industry? Because you have hundreds of these, and they have 1 million followers. I mean, I think within 2 weeks, this editor reached to 50,000 followers, which is not bad, right? By faking it.
Yeah, I agree with you that there are many fake influencers that
Yes.
they do rent those jets or villas or
Yachts
cars, but there are many others that works
Sure.
and that are supported by the brands. And yes, those are really living a luxury life. So I have met influencers, global influencers, that they travel in jet, they go to the best suites, they have the best watches, they dress the best dresses and best bags that are all given by the brands.
Right.
And the truth is that influencer marketing works.
Influencer
It works.
marketing
But you don't think today I personally see a big change there, is that I think people don't trust, they can see very quickly difference between who is paid and not paid, and
Right.
who generously, I think our best ambassador today are our customers that
Yes.
use social media, are very proud of the product they bought, they post it to their network, who are all potential buyers,
Yes.
and we see creating community within their friends. For us, it develops through that. Then after that, you have journalists and bloggers. They don't like now
So
to
it's
be
very
called.
social
But I think it's
community
first of
driven.
all the best influencers today are genuine buyers of luxury products that appreciate it and bought it for a reason and from themselves. Didn't get it as a gift, didn't. And then they are probably don't have millions on Instagram, but they are more influential than majority that have millions on Instagram.
So is that the evolution that you see a little bit from you, Saif, on that? Because that's very true. Whilst influencers own that sphere, everyone is very quick now to acknowledge that they do, they are always endorsing, and it's not a genuine approach, and suddenly they're unfollowing. And actually, you're moving away from this obsession to follow those that have 2 million and 3 million and going for those segment where they might have 20,000 or 5,000 or 10, but have a genuine story and real people. So how does that relate to you? And are you going through, Sadiq, in a process of sort of that omni or digital transformation yourself?
Yeah, see, we saw the trend of social media influencers gaining a lot of hype 5 years ago, when you had people hitting 5 million, 6 million. Nowadays, to have on Instagram someone to have 4, 5 million is very small followers. We are legacy-based retailers. We've been in business since 70 years. Very value-driven, a mix of very classic values and at the same time embracing the future. For us, social media, digitalization, and all these platforms are a mean and not an end. It's in old days, if you remember, we had only magazines to look at. So if you want to read something, refer to something, you go to your friend who was the social media influencer of the neighborhood, or the cool dude in college, or a good magazine.
So that's showing your age when you say cool dude. Like my kids would slap me if I used that, but go ahead. Yeah, okay.
So we would refer a lot to magazines, books, and then it changed. From magazine it came to internet. Internet started with very slow dials up, but you could access. Then came Facebook. So what is happening basically, what you are passing is news, is information. Before you had books, and before books preceding it was storytelling. People used to tell stories, passed on to written literature, passed on to internet, passed on to Facebook, Instagram, and it will move on. But what we do, we sell products. We sell dreams, we sell history, we sell heritage. We see the world is changing at very fast pace. We are changing also, but you don't necessarily have to keep on copying or keep doing things what other people are doing. Because I've seen a social influencer, I meet them on a daily basis. This is my job. We are in luxury. I mean, we live it on a daily basis. But one of the most important clients, I work with very high net worth people on an individual basis. And one of the richest people, they don't even have Instagram accounts. So for me, people who matter, I don't need to know 10,000 people. I just need to know 50 people. And those 50 people will give me 100 million dirhams. So it's all about mindset. What am I looking at? I'm not a mass market retailer. We are very, very high value, very sophisticated, expensive products what we retail. Sometimes a watch which we sell goes up to 3 million dirham, 4 million dirham. For that, I don't need mass. I need very few people who understand it. We need one-to-one conversation with them and sell the watches.
So I have a question which I'd like to ask. I mean, myself, obviously, I've journeyed way too many decades through this evolution of, whether it's fashion or luxury or brand and retail. And we always talk about this storytelling or this experience or this emotional connectivity to your consumer or to the end purchaser, that actually I believe that this new generation, and having 2 daughters who trying to explain to them the emotions behind, they're always telling me, you're so passionate when you talk and you just love this and you describe it. And for me, Mom, I just want to get it because it's whatever. But so trying to translate what we've experienced and that true meaning of luxury is very challenging in today's world because, there's so much on that online platform. How do you touch and feel and smell and breathe and live this, this experience? And then, like I said, coupled with that is all that noise. And you're very right. You only need a handful of people to follow, actually, or to be loyalists, right? As opposed to this mass. So when we talk about and see brands like, or groups like LVMH, right? And I'm totally happy for you to record this. So, you know, LVMH for me is a powerhouse. It's huge. It has done a lot for brands, but at the same time, it's a mass market luxury product. And I feel very strongly that it's moved away from the legacy or the artisan or the craftsmanship and the storytelling of yesteryear. And today, it's available to everybody. So actually, those loyalists, certainly those that I'm in contact with, don't even own an LV today. So how has that dynamic changed? Can you talk to me a little bit about what you feel, and how do you think these big groups will, you spoke about sustainability, so how do you sustain this? You're a giant ship. How do they sustain?
Yeah.
Is it luxury, is it mass?
Well, two different questions in one question. The first one is you call them powerhouses. They are powerhouses. The 10 top luxury groups in the market probably account for almost half of the whole luxury market in the world. Now, the point is they are self-proclaimed luxury brands or group. So we might redefine, if we want, this discussion would be a little longer, but we might redefine luxury. And if we redefine according to different criteria, many of the brands in their portfolio may be left out because they are premium but not luxury. That would mean completely reconfiguring the numbers, because the more you go in the pyramid, the less the market is concentrated. The more you go to mass, the more it's concentrated. Concentration means calculating how much percent of the total market is in the hand of the first few players. Like 80-20, 20% of the players have 80% of the market share. Quite a concentrated brand. If you go to artisans, it can never be concentrated because each of them is producing only a few pieces. There are, I don't know your numbers, but there are watch making companies we visit, like they make 100 pieces and they have 100 employees. 100 pieces a year. It means that the ratio, number of watches produced per employee is 1 per head count, which is crazy to me, but if you can afford, that's...
Isn't that luxury?
That's it. That's the good level of luxury. Right. Absolutely, yes. But if you want to enter into the lower part of the pyramid, if you want, let's call it aspirational and accessible luxury, as opposed to the absolute, concentration is necessary. Because at that level of positioning, big is beautiful. And I mean it when I say it. That doesn't mean I'm happy with this concept, but I want to just state what is the truth. If you buy 100 pages of advertisement in a glossy magazine, the 104th and first will come for free or at a discount. If you buy premium space or podiums in the shopping mall, you have the space to place another brand. There are Italian brands that were almost on the verge of disappearing. They have been bought by the big luxury brands, and immediately all of the department stores were super happy to have the Acqua di Parma. How cool is this luxury perfumery Italian brand? Of course, if you go to the buyer of Harrods and say, do you like Acqua di Parma? No. I mean, let me re-ask you again. Do you like Acqua di Parma? I mean, do you want to have the Dior, the Louis Vuitton, all the others in your store? Yes, yes. Do you like Acqua di Parma? Yes, I want it. Where shall I sign? You see the point? Big is beautiful because if these brands want to thrive and survive in the mechanism they created, they created a mechanism that is killing the smalls.
But that's the thing. What you're referring to is an affordable or aspirational luxury. I'm talking about a true luxury. So LVMH is, we throw the word luxury around as if it has actually no worth, right? So that's how do you segment? So tell me what you see as the difference, because for me that's affordable luxury.
What we judged, luxury can be judged very differently by anybody. I believe a brand like Rolex is a commodity today, but many people will say it's the top luxury watch brand in the world. Where do you define it? Who am I to define it?
Then who defines it?
Like I said, I think everybody has a different approach from your background, from where you come, etc. But on another hand, I believe that a small company like mine, that produces 1,500 watches a year, we need a Rolex because we need an entry to our world. We need customers to understand, yes, Swiss watches are the best. Mechanical watches made in Switzerland, amazing. And we have a huge group like Rolex that maybe make 1 million, we're not sure even, but around 1 million, to promote that to tens of millions of billions. And then at one day, but they will buy a Rolex first. Then maybe they look, oh, there is Patek Philippe, there is Audemars Piguet, there is something else interesting. They'll go there. And then, oh, there's all those other even more boutique, defined, and they go there. So you need to attract, you cannot, I don't have any customers that their first watch will be one of my watch. There is a story behind all their purchases that at one point they come to me and they love what we do and they start buying 1, 2, 3, 4, but they need to have a road that will bring them to my products. And for that I need a very strong Swiss watch industry, Swiss luxury watch industry that will promote us as a whole, that then at the end will give me a 0.1% remaining at the end. That will be where our world is,
but
you know?
That not 0.1% was the start of those brands, and has that not changed? So we have redefined it. It has been redefined, you're saying?
Probably.
Piggybacking on a mass luxury to enable you to now get to that very niche segment.
Yes. Again, when you produce 1 million of one product, it's a mass product. But why is it not a luxury product? Where do you, again, I still believe a Rolex is a luxury watch.
People associate luxury with bespoke or
Yes.
limited edition or artisan.
But it's why there is different
and all
level.
of this. So
But
now it's
from-
become a very different space, right?
Yes,
But we still refer to it.
It's why, where do you, I think a professor will be much better to define that than me. But for me, somebody, when you say a watch costs 8,000 US dollar, or 30 something dirham, people will feel insulted if you say it's not a luxury product. Because at the end, it's a lot of money for a product. But for what we sell, it's cheap. It's lower than our entry level. So where do you position it? It's very difficult to say.
Interesting. Yes, it is. Juan,
think
tell
it-
me, is it sorry, say, just in terms, do you feel luxury is an experience or a price tag? From where you?
I think luxury is very wide, the definition of luxury, and it is very difficult to define what luxury is, and it depends on the person that you ask. So if I ask you what luxury is, you just say that maybe Louis Vuitton is affordable luxury because it's affordable for you, but maybe it's not affordable for everybody. So then they might consider that Louis Vuitton bag that is luxury affordable for you, and for them is top luxury, while for others, maybe a Lamborghini is affordable and is more entry, and maybe a jet is what is luxury. So, in depending on the brand and in the industry, they do use different marketing strategies, obviously. And coming back to the social media, obviously, a jet company they cannot use the same tools that maybe a watch company or a shoes or any other industry, obviously.
So is
And
it a price tag or experience? Is something over a certain value define it? Or is something maybe of a lesser value, but the experience and the way it was crafted make it? What
Well,
do you think your customers look
I mean,
for?
luxury comes with a value. So obviously, luxury is defined by something that is expensive. That would be the first definition. But I believe luxury in general is moving towards experiences.
Saif, what were you wanting to add?
This is a very interesting subject. I always think about it. I'm sure there are few people wearing Apple Watch here. You'd be surprised to know that for majority of people in the world, an Apple Watch is a luxury object. So for me, luxury is a perception, plus your ability to spend. For some people, buying an island is a luxury and they can afford it. For some people, buying an apartment is a luxury and they can afford it. So goes on for car. Luxury is not new, it's always been there. Before, very few people could afford luxury. Kings, landlords, big merchants. Post-industrialization, more people started to have money in their hands. And I think after 70s and 80s, when people started to move around, all these corporations started to come, this whole idea of luxury wasn't still in the mind. Before, luxury was for few homes. If you're a landlord, you have slaves, you have houses, you have lands, you have gold, a lot of gold, you have diamonds. That's luxury. You had Hermes somewhere, you have Louis Vuitton somewhere, very small business houses, tiny business houses. This change did not happen unless these big conglomerates like LVMH and Richemont, they came in and they changed the way luxury is seen. Today, in 2019, a luxury Hermes bag can be afforded by millions of people. But just 30 years before, not many people would even think about buying a Hermes. They could not afford it or they would not know about it. So first, I think wealth has increased tremendously. If you look at the GDP of the world from last 40 years till date, GDP has increased tremendously. Economies have gone up. You had China, where a few years ago you had children dying of malnutrition. Now today, in today's world, Chinese buyers are the biggest buyers of luxury in the world, be it cars, be it art, be it watches. I'll give you an example. Every once in 2 years, there's a charity which is called Only Watch. Only Watch goes to all these watch brands and tells them, make a watch for me, and I will auction these watches. Recently, there was an auction, so a lot of brands, including H. Moser was there, a lot of brands were there. A Patek Philippe was done, one-of-a-kind watch, in platinum, a watch. And a Chinese client paid $33 million for a watch. That's luxury, because you can afford it. So it means different things to different people.
Okay, thank you. So I was reading something earlier today, and Bain & Co. actually said it, and it talked about, because I also deal with a lot of new, I guess the new generation of luxury, which I'm very passionate about. So they said that we expect to see the emergence of new luxury brands specifically targeted to various tribes of consumers. So this new gen of luxury. Legacy luxury brands will thus need to pivot from ultra exclusivity to a new flavor of inclusivity to align with the social shift. These digital first luxury brands don't have legacy systems or processes holding them back, which means they can innovate fast and they're agile. So my question being, is new luxury in the hands of this new generation? Or do you think, how important does this new gen play?
Okay, this is vital because this is the market today and will be the only market tomorrow. Let me call back to one concept. Veblen in 1899 wrote about a book about conspicuous consumption. While I was flying here, a journalist in the Financial Times say the new iPhone 12 or whatever it is will be a luxury, exactly like your example, because it's a Veblen good. And the journalist tried to make a definition. A Veblen good, the higher the cost, the retail price, the more you sell. Well, Veblen never said that. That was a misconception of people not having read the book. Veblen basically explained two social phenomena that are linked to the inherent need of people of socializing. Running away from the king is wearing a crown. Why? To show I'm the king. The typical example I make to my students, okay, you have the money, you go to a jewelry, they make a crown for you. That doesn't make you a king. You're still what you are. The king can wear a crown of paper and he is still the king. Because the crown is the sign, is a social sign, is a social symbol of what I am. Of course, if it is encrusted of diamonds, is it even better, but it still does what it's meant to do. Is a social symbol. Like the white earphones that Apple invented after my generation only used the black cord because of my Sony Walkman. That is the social symbol. And not only if you are the king, you want to differentiate yourself from the, poor people. If you are somebody from the lower class, you aspire at entering into an elite. So there are two social phenomena. The snob effect. I want to distinguish myself from the rest. All of them have a Louis Vuitton. I'm a snob, in a positive way, of course. I want a sign that I belong to a higher elite. Or I want to join an elite, the bandwagon effect. Depending on where you are, you see somebody above you or somebody below you, and your consumption is linked to your social need.
So for you and your business, do you feel today where you're at and where you're moving, are you going to be more exclusive or inclusive? And how do you understand the meaning of those two?
At the end of the day, exclusivity is part of everything we are presenting.
Yeah.
And exclusivity in the products we are selling and the like you were talking before, like people buy certain products is for their circle and to represent something within their circle,
Yeah.
what they are and
Yeah.
what the product, especially watch, really represents something, and why they buy it is not by case. They want to represent something on them. But you need to have this exclusivity in terms of products and exclusivity in terms of the craftsmanship that you're doing, etc. But in the same time, and we saw with the success of majority of those brands, you need, the most you are known by people, but the less people can afford you, the more you get excitement around your brand. So I need 100 people to know my brand to sell one, if you understand what I mean. So I need to, I cannot be exclusive in my...
so you're saying to include, that's what your idea of...
I need to mix on both.
To have you, to then understand you and transform you to a loyalist.
Yes,
So
yes.
you need the both. And for you, Juan, is it total exclusivity when we come to your Formula One and sit in your Ferraris or jets, or are you trying in your business to allow others?
For any business, the more they sell, the more money they make, so the better. What we do is we bring potential consumers to brands, and those consumers are already pre-qualified. Obviously, the more we bring, the more they sell. In the terms of what, at the end of the day, luxury brands, what they want is to sell their products. And you can ask this gentleman that is sitting next to me, that I'm very sure that he will prefer to sell 10,000 watches instead of 1,000 watches, because it's his company, it's his brand, and the more he sells, the better. So coming to affordable luxury, top luxury, or Bernard Vuitton, for example, owner of Louis Vuitton Group, he just recently acquired Tiffany Group, right, for $18.2 billion, which has been the biggest transaction ever. So what he, I believe, Bernard Vuitton is a genius, because he's created a luxury brand and converted kind of a mass market luxury brand, which is the opposite of what luxury brand is, but he's able to make it.
I think that's another panel.
So it's,
May I just interrupt you on this? I want to remark, because when I started doing what I do, which is research in luxury, I interviewed people. At the opening we had in Milan, we had the chance to have Santo Versace, the brother of Gianni, with us at the panel. So I mean, my voice can be influential, but Santo was more than mine. And he say, I'm not in the business of luxury. I am in the business of beauty. And he didn't mean, he said it in Italian, didn't mean beauty. It's business della bellezza, del bello, okay? Now, thanks for pointing out Arnaud. Arnaud, of course, wants to conquer the world. It's like when you play Risk, your job is to destroy everybody else. Okay, that's Bernard Arnault. And I totally understand that somebody can have this goal in life, not mine, in his life. But when he was asked, I didn't have the pleasure to interview him personally, but when he was asked what is luxury, he didn't say my Louis Vuitton bags. He didn't say my Tiffany. You know what Bernard Arnault say? Luxury is having some time to listen to some music. When you are running a $40 billion business, you don't have any more time to stay home and listen to this music. So luxury, wherever you are, I mean, I thought I saw crazy things, but wherever I reach, I see somebody else with some craziest things, okay? Now go online, not now, and look for the world. There is the first residential cruise ship in the world. They sold like 40 apartments, and you own an apartment on board of a cruise ship, and you have all of your friends, they travel the world, that's their house with the butler, restaurants, and everything. I mean, that's incredible. But wherever you reach, there's somebody else with. So, yes, but no. Yes, there's somebody whose business is to make the most possible money. But believe me, I saw many companies, many artisans who set a cap. You speak with René Cauville himself, say, do you want to sell more than 80,000 pairs of shoes a year? No, I'm happy with that. And I'm super glad we still have this kind of people in the world.
Here, here. So I think that deserves a clap, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful. So I just want to talk about collaborations, and because we see a lot of that today. And for me, it's interesting to see brands like Fendi, who are working with Fila, and Stella McCartney with Puma. And is it something that you think is clever, or is it something to encash a moment because streetwear and is on trend? And how long do you think that, the concept of collaborations, let's start with Safe on this one, please. Collaborations, do you see it in your world, or is that a no-no?
Well, in business of watches, we see a lot of collaborations. Not a lot, but very selective. Hublot does a lot of collaboration with art, street art, artists. They do a lot of collaboration even with big games like World Cup, soccer.
Yeah.
But Rolex does a lot of collaboration with artists, with musicians, with athletes. So depends on brand to brand. Some brand that they do it to get more popularity. Some brands that do it genuinely to enhance art, literature, poverty. Rolex runs a lot of excellence programs where they honor. In fact, today there was a lunch in Dubai where Rolex honored a doctor who's been helping a lot of patients. I do not have the details, but this is part of the corporate social responsibility, but non-commercial. But a lot of brands that do it on commercial basis. So it depends what their long-term vision is with collaborations.
So I've been told to wrap up. On my final note, I'd like the professor to please tell us how has all of what we've discussed and all you presented linked to the luxury program that you're developing, and how can these potential new alumni participate and benefit?
Okay, thank you. Without any mean of being arrogant, but I just want to remind that there are classifications of luxury. And the main tendency today is to classify luxury in levels. Bain & Company, for instance, defines the absolute aspirational and accessible luxury. The private banker, have to classify the luxury consumer depending on the money you have in the bank account and the type of car depending on the level. You might like it or not, but BMW 3 Series or Mercedes Class C is classified as the entry level of luxury cars. And this is important because even though we all want to only think about €1 million plus cars, most of my students will end up working in probably what is the more accessible. So I need to deal with also that part when teaching. By the way, fun fact, we decided to stop the visit to the BMW factory, which is one of the best. As a hobby, I also like to visit factories. I think I visited more than 500 so far and make comparison, because when you see the manufacturing, you understand more what is going on. And believe me, the BMW factory in Munich is a jewel of technology. But students will not understand where luxury was. It's the ultimate technology, but where is luxury? Even though they make the 7 Series. But if you had the chance to visit the Morgan car manufacturing, with a car that it looks like it was designed 1 century ago, with the solid ashwood frame and the spiked wheels, you think this is luxury and costs much less than a 5 Series BMW. So it's not a problem of price tag, it's to letting the student be able to experience, touch with their hands. I don't know if with you, but I'm planning to offer an extra workshop to the participants where they will be assembling their own watch in Switzerland if they want to do the extra workshop and bring it home. That's luxury, even though maybe it's not a tourbillon, because I don't think they will be able by the end of the master, but a simple movement. And they didn't do so far in my previous masters, but even those who did a little bit of the assembly steps of the 8900 mechanism of this Omega, students went home thrilled, and they became ambassador of, technically speaking, by the way, Rolex is in luxury, if we look at the definition of the expert, 3rd tier. So we classify the brands, we exclude the super artisanal brands, one-off production. We have 1st tier, then we go down 2nd tier, then we go down 3rd tier. The 3rd tier brands are Rolex and the direct competitor, Omega, Montblanc, etc. We consider them 3rd tier. So it means there are at least 2 levels over and above them, but they are luxury for many people. And what he was explaining is the mechanism that every student or participant to this course must understand, the way through which you are funneling and channeling customer through or ever loftier level of luxury. Yeah, the program is providing lectures in class, interaction amongst participants, experience through the study tours we are going in the regions, and contacts with companies, with managers, with professionals.